Hello, I'm Rick Ward, founder of Orbit's Edge, and I listen to the Cold Start Project.
This show is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended to be what is termed professional advice. The Cold Start Project is proudly presented by the Operational Excellence Society. Cold Start Tech is a supporter of the OPEX Society, and Jason Kanigan is a member of its board of advisors. Talk with us at Cold Start Tech to find out more about the OPEX Society and what we can achieve together in your organization, or just visit opexsociety.org. Thanks for joining us for today's show.
So you all know I love bringing perspectives from outside of North America or ESA or something like that. And so today we've got somebody from Botswana and Zimbabwe, which I think is really cool. We've had a few African guests on, but here we're going to be focusing specifically on Southern Africa. And her name is Basuti Bolo, and she has a couple of really cool roles. She is the Space for Women mentor for Zimbabwe, and really promoting STEM and space and all the other goodies. She's also the chair of educational technologies at Africa University. And so we're going to have a great discussion about what is happening with space in Africa and how Botswana and Zimbabwe are getting involved in the space industry and what the future looks like. So Basuti, welcome. Basuti, tell us a little bit about your experience growing up in Southern Africa and how you got involved with STEM, what kind of path you took to enter the field that you're in.
Yes, when I grew up in Southern Africa, in Botswana, in a village. I was born in a village called Matangwane village in the central district of Botswana. So, and I started my primary school at Matangwane Primary School, where I did grade 1 to grade 7. So when I was at primary school, I used to be one of the best students in STEM, in mathematics, science, and I really loved the science. And until I attend my secondary and tertiary, I was good in STEM programs. In 1985, when I was doing grade Form 1, I became best student in mathematics in our class. So that's really motivated me, because as a young girl at that time, I could see that, and we were about more than 40 students, and I could see that being the best student, it was something that I really liked, and it motivated me to do well in science and mathematics.
Well, very good. So Botswana and then Zimbabwe, where you've moved to, are landlocked countries. They're touching each other. They share a border. How has that geography impacted their development of space programs? I mean, what kind of thinking goes into this?
So you see, Zimbabwe and Botswana, they are countries that are landlocked countries. But if you look at the space program, you find that Southern Africa space program, the countries, they use space program, especially the space applications. Space application meaning remote sensing and GIS application to monitor and manage our resources. And we in SADC, Southern Africa, there are projects that are integrated, and we find that countries like Botswana, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Swaziland, and other SADC countries, they join together to work together using space applications. Sometimes you'll find that each country or other countries who advance on space applications, like South Africa, sometimes they invite countries with less experience in space for training and so on. And there are also committees that has been formed in SADC and in Africa that support space application and the use of space science technology in the continent.
Okay, so more cooperation than competition. So that's good. They figured out if we pool our resources, we could do better. What does the average person on the street in either country think of space and space-based technology?
Currently, people are now aware of space science and technology. But before, people were using space science and technology, but they were not aware that this is space science and technology, because they were thinking that space, if you talk of space, is the astronomy and also only the astronauts. But currently, we know that the satellites that we are using for communication, telecommunications, internet, and Earth observation satellites, they are very useful because of outreach, because of mentorship and networking of international bodies and those countries that advance in space.
Okay, I've interviewed a few people from Africa. Tamadeo Onyeson, who runs a space journal. What else can I remember? A fellow from South Africa who moved to Holland, but they're making attitude control systems. And another fellow I could think of. So very, very interesting what's going on there. What do you think the biggest challenge is in implementing, developing, and getting user adoption for space technology for Southern Africans?
The challenge is that is lack of resources and lack of skilled manpower, because if you talk of space science and technology, these are fields that are not easy to be used by each and individual person. It needs more training, outreach, and also support, like to launch a satellite on space is not something that can a country like just wake up and do it. It is expensive to launch a satellite, and you'll find that countries, they prioritize the other use of funds than to launch a space satellites in space, because also to launch a space as individual countries find that it can be expensive. So that's why you see sometimes there are committees that are formed in SADC in Africa to work together to support each other with the resources so that we can manage resources for sustainable development. Okay. And another challenge also is that is awareness, because like I said, if there is lack of awareness of space science technology and the use of technology in the continent or in southern region, and this also makes it very slow for countries to adapt space science technology and also to support projects that can assist that are based on space science and technology.
Right. Yeah, that awareness is so important, isn't it?
Yes.
Folks on the street really need to understand how space impacts their daily lives and can improve what they're doing, their jobs, their communication, their safety. And so you're doing a lot to help that. I know I'm thinking of Eldridge de Mello, who's Angolan, and he's a ground station operator. Actually, he's gone on from that, but he was when I interviewed him to find out more about ground station operations. And being from Angola, he had the ability to go to both the Russians and the Americans and the French, even for training. Is that the case for Botswanans and folks from Zimbabwe as well?
Yes, because currently Botswana is developing like a satellite, meteorological satellite system, and is being assisted by China. It's being developed in China. Zimbabwe as well is Japan, and the countries are planning to launch their first satellite in 2022, of which it will be another move, and now everyone will be involved in space science technology. And because of those this big project, it will also create awareness within the country.
Right. Okay. Well, let's take the idea of a small satellite constellation flying overhead, taking its readings with its resolution and updating in that. You're saying, and I'm going to use your phrase here, precise data is promised by spectral imagery for farmers, right? And they're going to be able to make decisions and do better out of that, get better results. Can you describe for us what specifically those farmers will get out of having this precise data?
If you look at Southern Africa, like Africa, our farms are very small. Sometimes one that a smallest farm can be up to less than even a hectare. And Africa lacks very high resolution data. And the introduction of very high resolution satellite imagery capture can assist farmers to manage the farm activities and to easily know exactly what is happening, where and why is happening that way. Because previously we used to use a very low resolution data of satellites that you find that it can be 1 kilometers. And if it is 1 kilometer resolution, you find that it is very difficult for farmers to identify or to even to monitor such a small area farm that is in irregular shapes and so on. And that's why currently there is introduction of drones technology to capture very high resolution data, and the technology is still also new, and Africa is still learning on the use of drones technology to assist in precision agriculture and to provide very high resolution data.
Okay, so so they'll be able to make better decisions about crops and what else?
Yeah, it's to monitor crops and our forest management, natural resources such as water resources, because Africa is also facing challenge of droughts. There are regions that are affected by droughts. And also satellite technology with the very high resolution can assist in the transboundary issues where there are maybe water pollutions, air pollutions, and other natural resources that needs to be monitored by using remote sensing in areas where it can be reached by a physical human being. And we see some fires, field fires all over, and also we can assist in the identification of areas of wildfires and drought areas. Yeah.
Right, very good. Yeah, the drought thing is very important, that issue. There is a large desert, a very large mountain as well, which some folks may know about. So you are the Space for Women Ambassador to Botswana. Tell us about that role, what's involved, and what you're hoping to achieve with
it. To be a Women Ambassador to Botswana and also to globally, because I'm also Women Ambassador in African region, and globally we assist the women and girls to use space, and we encourage them to use space, and also we mentor them that in many other countries or regions you find that there's a norm that a woman cannot do space or cannot do the fields that are done by a female. So we encourage them and mentor them that as a woman you can do, there are no borders in women. As long as you have the passion to do space, you can do and you'll achieve it. And also our worry is that looking at the population, we find that there are more women and girls in the world, and if you can leave them behind, the world cannot do much. And we find that at the end, there'll be a challenge of maybe managing resources, or everything will decline because a large number of group of people will be left behind, including women and girls and other disadvantaged people.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're doing that. That's very, very important. Even in so-called first world countries, that attitude can still persist, right? That women are not as good, and it's a big mistake. Very foolish, very foolish.
Yeah, and also what we do, we act as a role model and also as the cases like, I'm here and I'm a woman, and also we encourage other women that, a woman can do a lot, and we find that we are the one who are taking care of our children. So we have to take care of our children until they're grown up. That's where now you can start going to school again, to empower, like to develop yourself and so on. And we also try to speak to the world that there must be a policies that protects women, more especially when it comes to education, to empowerment, because normally we find that when it comes to scholarship, they will tell you that a scholarship ends at like 35 years, a youth up to youth level is 35. But what about women? At that age, 35, a woman is the one now who's be taking care of kids there. So women must not have any boundaries when it comes to scholarship and empowerment. So that's our message to the society every day.
Very good. Yeah, it's badly needed. So
Yes.
let's finish up with a fun question here then, which kind of tacks on to what we've been talking about. If you had the resources to do whatever you wanted, whatever you pleased concerning space education and technology development as a program for Southern Africa, if you could get the countries to work together and pool all those resources and people, what would you focus your effort on?
If I have all the resources available, I'll focus on education, empowering everyone, empowering everyone to use space science and technology. Because I know that if we can empower everyone, everyone will be involved, will take part, and will be able to manage our resources. And if you look at space science also, like I can advise that it's not only focusing on STEM. There are programs that are not based on STEM, like they are based on arts. Like if you look at space tourism, if you look at the space suits that have been designed by people who are not who doesn't have any experience on STEM. Also, there are space songs, space arts, anything everyone can be involved. Even those students, these kids, they can sing these songs that include space and so on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very interesting idea. Education through singing,
yes.
making something
yes.
popular, right?
Yes.
Well, very good. Well, Basuti, who should contact you? What would you like them to contact you about, and where is the best place to do that?
Each and every person who are interested in contacting me, they can contact me by the email. My email is basutibolo@gmail.com. And also my profile, I have a linked profile. They can Google my name on Facebook. That's where I share my all, I share everything that I do globally on Facebook, on LinkedIn as well. And also at the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs Network website, I'm also there. So they can contact me via the social media.
Right. Yes, anyone interested in space and women and Southern Africa should be following you on LinkedIn. Well, I appreciate you doing this. Thanks for being here.
Yes, but not only in Southern Africa, anyone who's interested, also not only women and even any person, because we just do a general. The Space for Women project that one is focused on women and girls, but we are doing general because one of the member and body of organizations that I volunteer to mentor as well, not only United Nations Space for Women project.
Right. Well, I think what I'll do is I'll catch up with you again in about 6 months, and maybe we'll do another one of these. You could tell us what's new and what has happened since.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for doing this. Thanks for joining my guest, Basuti Bolo, and myself on this week's episode of the Cold Star Project, having a look at Southern Africa and what space means for that area of the world. And if you want to catch up on what's going on in the space industry, here's a way to do it for free. Go to coldstartech.com and the courses page and sign up for the Make Space Boring virtual conferences recordings. And there, boy, if you want to learn about in situ resource utilization on the moon, space situational awareness, space law, and a whole bunch more, we've got subject matter experts there, and that information has not become outdated. These are general practical principles that you can use as a foundation for your knowledge of space. So I recommend getting over there and checking it out. The courses section on coldstartech.com. Thanks for listening.